back, everybody. Time for us to go behind the headlines. Of course, the big news today is the election in Los Angeles, where people are getting to decide between three different measures that have been put up in Los Angeles to regulate the dispensary industry there. And this is an important election in wake of the recent California Supreme Court decision in that Riverside case that has said that localities have the right to ban dispensaries. They can zone them out of existence. They can use the power of zoning to be able to make it so impossible for them to open that they're basically bans. And we've seen that the U.S. Supreme Court now has denied any sort of Americans with disability claim against that. Not that it had much chance, considering that, according to the federal government, there is no such thing as medical marijuana. So the people of Los Angeles find themselves in a very precarious position. Right now, there are hundreds of dispensaries that have opened, and the Los Angeles City Council has done everything they can to try to ban them. In the past, they passed a ban on dispensaries. They've passed moratoriums on dispensaries. They'd be completely banned in Los Angeles if not for a lawsuit that forced them to stay open. So a lot of these propositions have to do with the specific date of, or specific year of 2007, being that when the Los Angeles City Council came up with this moratorium and decided they were only going to let the shops that had been opened to remain open. Now, here's what you got going on in Los Angeles today. There's Proposition D, Proposition E, and Proposition F. Proposition D would reduce the number of cannabis dispensaries to just about 135 of them. That is the number of ones that had opened prior to the 2007 moratorium. So the long-time players in the industry would be allowed to stay open. It would also increase taxes on those businesses just a bit. Proposition E would be the same number of clinics, the same 135 or so would be allowed to stay open, the ones that were open before 2007, but there'd be no increase in taxes. And it's interesting because Proposition E was put up by the United Food and Commercial Workers Union, and now they've dropped their support for Proposition E and they're backing Proposition D. We'll talk about that in just a minute. And then Proposition F would have no limit on the number of dispensaries, but would put controls like audits and background checks on employees. Proposition F would also raise taxes, and Proposition F would engage the industry in voluntary regulations and controls. Now, the proposition that gets the most votes wins, but the winner has to have a majority, right? So if Proposition D gets 49 and E gets 46 and F gets 40, then none of them win. One of them has to break 50% in order to win. If none of them break 50%, the issue goes back to the Los Angeles City Council, which, as we've seen back in 2012, wants to ban all the dispensaries. Now, a lot of the dispensary people are behind Proposition F, and that makes a ton of sense since they would want to open up shops, and this provides no limit on the shops. They don't have to be open before 2007. I can understand their reasoning on that. But given the political climate, given the fact that Los Angeles City wants to ban dispensaries and California Supreme Court has given them the go-ahead to do so, I think the smart vote, the practical vote in this matter is Proposition D. It seems like the City Council is willing to work with a Proposition D victory that's going to limit the number of dispensaries to 135. And I know that's not a whole lot. You know, Los Angeles is huge geographically, and 135 dispensaries, especially if the zoning ends up that you can only open in certain industrial or agricultural areas or whatever they might choose, could make it more difficult for patients to get their medicine. But I really think this vote today comes down to a vote between Proposition D and 135 dispensaries, or none of them winning and Los Angeles banning all of them. Remember, if Proposition F passes and allows as many dispensaries as want, that doesn't mean there have to be dispensaries. Los Angeles still has the right to ban them. And I have a feeling the Los Angeles City Council won't like Proposition F passing. And given the choice between having unlimited dispensaries or using their power of zoning to ban them, I think they will ban them. The smart vote today is Proposition D, the one that can pass, get 50% of the vote, and will not draw the ire of the Los Angeles City Council to just ban dispensaries altogether. And damn it, I hate when I have to make practical suggestions to people.
Especially those who are supposed to be running things.
There shouldn't be a limit. It should be market controlled, but You got to take what you can get sometimes.
Have you ever met that funny reefer man? A reefer man. Have you ever met that funny reefer man? A reefer man. If he said he's